Hello and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve, where last time... what a humdinger of an episode last time was, because not only did we have an epic trial sequence in the courtroom itself, but Susato has returned from Japan, and she's back at the Naruhodo Legal Consultancy to return as our judicial assistant, which, yes, finally. I know it sounds so weird because we just had a case. It's kind of like Justice for All, where yes, in Justice for All, you had Maya show up in the last second because that game doesn't... It didn't want to wait to play the card, right? Like, they wanted to show their hand as quickly as possible to let you know she was still in the game. So it's kind of similar here, where it's like, we just had two whole cases where she was a major player, but it's still awesome to have her back in, like, timeline-wise, to have her back from Japan over here, helping out Ryunosuke. So she's back, and now we have an entire... I am very interested to see where the rest of this case goes, because the first half of the case is really strong, so I'm excited to see where this goes from here. October 23rd, 2:41 p.m., Naruhodo Legal Consultancy. There she is! Oh, this room! It's been too long! It hasn't changed in the slightest, though, and it's been some 6 months, hasn't it? That's a long time for things to stay so... familiar. I didn't know when you might return, and I wanted everything to be as you left it. But it has been some 6 months, it's true. So is your father alright, Susie? What happened? Funny story. My father? Yes, Professor Mikotaba. I mean, it was half a year ago, but that's why you went back to Japan. Because of the telegram that you received saying he'd fallen ill with a very high fever for some unknown reason. That's right. So I was surprised to learn you'd become back so soon. Surprised, but happy. I think I wrote about it in my letter to you, that it was all a trick. My father is in fine health, and I'm obviously very relieved about that. Well, we're all delighted to have you back. It was quite by accident that I've been able to return to Europe, actually. It's because of a very grand conference called the International Forensic Science Symposium. The International Forensic, that's the same symposium Lord Stranghaud mentioned. Anyway, I've arrived safe and sound, and all that matters is that I'm here now. After all, I haven't yet fulfilled my promise to you, Iris. Oh! You must tell us everything that happened while you were back in Japan. Yes, of course, I shall. We have quite a story to tell, and there's one other thing. Something that you wrote in your letter that particularly grabbed my attention. About you-know-who. About Kazuma. I know. I'll tell you all that I can. Yeah, they left some interesting cliffhangers. They dropped some massive bombshells at the end of the first case, so I'm interested to see how this progresses. But before we get into that, I've seen this sentiment in comments for a while, so let's finally examine the shovel and see what all the hubbub is about. Thinking back, that spade's been in here since we first moved in, hasn't it? I'm sure I told you before, Mr. Naruhodo, it's not a spade, it's a shovel. No, shovels are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a spade. No, spades are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a shovel. The great spade shovel war rages on. So that's definitely supposed to serve as the stepladder ladder substitute. Not that doesn't really mean anything to me, because apparently it was a big deal in the original trilogy that ladders and stepladders kept popping up every now and again, and that was supposed to be the running gag. But I never examined any of them. I think I may have examined one stepladder in Turnabout Samurai, but I don't think I examined anything after. I'm pretty sure that might be the only one. So I've not been in on the running gag, but you know, it's nice to see that this sentiment carries over in the form of shovels and spades in these chronicles. Anyway, let's actually talk to Susato, shall we? Oh, that's a whole hell of a lot. Okay, back in Britain. When I first arrived back in Japan, I really thought I'd never be allowed to return to Britain, but curiously, after that awful trial at the Supreme Court, Father's mood changed entirely. The awful trial? Oh yes, for the murder of Giselle Britt. Ooh, you dressed as a man then, didn't you, Susie? Oh, well, yes. Since women are forbidden in the courtroom, I had no choice. Wow, amazing! I wish I'd seen it, don't you, Runo? Yes, I suppose so. I want to play at being a lawyer now. I could wear a false mustache, maybe. Yeah, I'm sure they'll let the 10-year-old and no eyebrows will be raised at a 10-year-old child walking into the court and like, yep, I am defense lawyer, that is me. I don't think any mustache could hide the fact that you're just 10 years old, Iris. Well, in a certain other franchise, she'd be perfectly allowed to go waltz around doing whatever she wanted to. She might even be able to run a whole robot factory if she wanted to. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not still miffed about anything in particular. Anyway, something else that I've been wanting to ask you, Mr. Sato. It's about the real reason why Professor Mikotaba summoned you back to Japan. You said in your letter that it was something to do with the convict's loot that we found in Mr. Natsume's lodgings. That's right. the very large dog collar we found with the, B emblem on it. It seems Mr. Natsume included a drawing of the collar in the report that he submitted about his time in Britain. I understand that when Father saw the report, he turned as white as a sheet. Why would that be, then? Father came to Britain himself, of course, to study. It was some time ago now, but he stayed for 6 years. I can only imagine that something must have happened during that time. But if he refuses to tell me what it was, then I intend to find the answers for myself. And I've decided that I, for one, won't keep any more secrets. Oh, Susie! So, do we want to start with the secret of what happened to Iris' father? Are we starting there, then? That's a very meaningful look to Sato-san's giving Iris there. Yeah, because this, is a mighty big secret that we've been keeping from Iris. We're gonna have to rip off that band-aid at some point. Anyway, now on to the next topic. Lord Strongheart mentioned something about that symposium, too. I think he said that investigative authorities from 40 different countries around the world would attend. Yes, and from Japan, my father and Judge Jigoku have been invited. It's something of an honor, I believe. Well, Professor Mikotaba is the leading expert in forensic medicine in our country, after all. But who's the other person you mentioned? A judge, did you say? Yes, His Excellency Judge Saishiro Jikogu. You met him, Mr. Naruhodo, last year in the Supreme Court. You can't possibly have forgotten that terrible trial of yours when you were accused of murder. Yes, I try to think of that as a positive turning point in my life these days. Well, it was Judge Jigoku who presided over that trial. Are they actually gonna make the judge, like, a character? That's abnormal. The judge isn't supposed to be a character. If I'm perfectly honest, I'd be happy never to see that man's face again in my life. Oh, well anyway, as father was invited to the symposium, he agreed to me returning to Britain too. He won't actually arrive till next month, but, well, I couldn't wait! So I pleaded with him, and in the end he agreed to me going on ahead! Yes, about the symposium. It seems as though Lord Strongheart has put in an awful lot of work to make it happen. It's obviously very important, yeah, with the insane amount of time he kept us waiting for. I believe it is, yes. As I understand it, Lord Strongheart organized the entire event himself. I think he's hoping that by achieving exceptional results, he'll get the job of Attorney General, the most senior position in the British justice system. He's hoping to use his power to create the world's finest policing institution. Oh, is that what he wants to do? Oh, is that what he wants to do? That's what Father said anyway. Apparently it's Lord Strongheart's lifelong ambition. Does Professor Mikotaba know Lord Strongheart personally then? I wonder. Actually, Lord Strongheart gave me a long speech all about this very subject only yesterday. But I sort of lost the will to live early on and didn't really listen to much of it. How trying for you. Yeah, what he listed like hundreds upon hundreds of explanations for things. Giselle Brett, the woman whose unforgivable actions ended in me being wrongly accused of a crime I didn't commit. The murder of Dr. John H. Wilson. Yes, Giselle Brett. That's a name I won't forget for as long as I live. The extraordinary thing is, though, it seems it's a name that we should all forget. Sorry? Since the incident, our government's intelligence services have been investigating Miss Brett. But it turns out that an English woman by the name of Giselle Brett didn't actually exist. Was her name too on? So her name was too on the nose for it to be a real name, but everyone else's, nah. Well, I guess except for Eggs Benedict, but you know what I mean. Didn't exist like Beef Stroganoff. We'll never see him again. He'll never show up again in the rest of the game. But I just want to bring him up because it's like that man's ridiculous name is allowed to persevere. But Giselle, Brett, and Eggs Benedict, nah. Those gotta get tossed out. Those are the fake names. Didn't exist. But how can that be? It was a pseudonym. Her real name was Shin, and she wasn't a visiting student either. That was a front. A front? Who on earth was she then? Miss A. Shin. Her name is literally all our intelligence services have been able to ascertain about her. Nobody knows why, or even how, she came to be in Japan. It's a complete mystery, but that makes no sense. It's no easy task to be accepted as a foreign student anywhere. What could the woman have been up to? I'm afraid I really don't know. The only thing that we can be sure of is that she had some business in our country that we don't yet understand. And now she's, you know, I gotta say, they're piling on a lot of stuff. There's, like I still have a whole list of things they need to wrap up in this game. And the list is growing every second. Because there's still things that have been introduced in this game that they have to resolve. I'm actually kind of getting nervous. Because usually when a game introduces this many things, like this insane amount of plot beats and character storylines, it usually doesn't resolve it all. Like, usually they fall short in some areas, so I'm starting to get really nervous that not all of this is going to get resolved by the end of the game, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed because I really, really want this to end well. And now she's been killed, while all the questions surrounding her existence remain unanswered. I'm afraid so. Aishin. Who on earth was she? And why do I feel as though I've heard that name somewhere before? And finally, the most important thing, what about Kazuma? After my friend Ray's trial, the reporter who actually killed Miss Brett said something very strange. I know the truth. I know you had a hand in what went on, and a visiting student's fate. Nobody here in Japan knows anything about it. They don't know that the guy never made it to England, that he died on that steamship, and that he'll never... Obviously, I couldn't ask him to elaborate at the time, but later I visited the man in his prison cell and asked him what he was going to say about Kazuma-sama, and what did you learn? Don't tell me nothing. After he died on the voyage to Great Britain, his body should have been unladen at the port of Hong Kong and passed into the care of the consulate staff there. Should have been? Well, it turns out that his body never arrived. It just disappeared. What? Kazuma's body vanished? Well, I mean, hey, maybe we should. Maybe we should check in with Van Zeeks about that. I wonder if he would know anything about this for some strange reason that I couldn't possibly guess for anything. Our government tried to cover the fact up. It seems they erected a grave on the cliffs by our hometown. Yeah, where that was so jarring to see. Like, of all the places you'd expect it to be just in a normal graveyard. But it was just on a random cliff by the sea. It's just like, it kind of reminded me of Famicom Detective Club, like that one cliff that everyone kept going to in Famicom Detective Club. That's what it kind of reminded me of. It's just, except instead of it just being a cliff to look out over the ocean on, it's just that's just a grave set apparently. Except Kazuma-sama isn't there. Did Professor Mikotaba know about this? Yes, it would seem that he did, but he didn't tell me. They're still investigating what happened to Kazuma-sama's body as we speak. I just don't believe it. What is this acute feeling of apprehension that I have all of a sudden? Thinking back now, some of the things that happened on the SS Boria were definitely strange. Some of the things? Try all of the things. I mean, after he died, we never saw his body again, did we? I'm guessing what's gonna happen is that he's probably... Because he definitely... Like... It's possible for him to survive, but he definitely didn't walk away from that, spotless. Like, he definitely didn't walk away scot-free. He definitely suffered some kind of injury. So I'm guessing what happened is he suffered from some kind of amnesia, and he doesn't remember anything about who he is, or who he was, or who he knew, or what his life was, or what his mission here in Great Britain was. I'm guessing it's going to be that, and then he's just kind of, like, Van Zeeks is taking him under his wing, sort of thing. So I'm guessing that's where we're headed here. Could it be? Could it be that he's actually still alive? Stop, Mr. Naruhodo! It's too much to bear! I'm sorry. I didn't mean to... Just thinking about the possibility pains me so very much. Cast your mind back for a moment, Mr. Naruhodo. To when? There's a lot of different places. When Kazuma-sama was discovered, Mr. Sholmes was there, wasn't he? And he definitely examined the body. I remember it clearly. You're right. So what? What does that mean? So if Kazuma hadn't actually been dead at all, it wouldn't mean that Mr. Sholmes had lied to us. Or it means that he's completely incompetent, which... Is it really so hard to believe that a man as incompetent as Sholmes, which he's been proven to be up until this point, is it really so hard to believe that he would have screwed up something like determining if a man was dead? I don't know. I feel like he could easily screw that up because he's just that much of an airheaded moron. But there's no reason why he would possibly have done such a thing. I suppose that's true, yes. The idea that he might still be alive somewhere, it wants to fill me with hope, but I can't let it, because if it turned out to not be true... Stop it, I can't with the eyes. Then I'd be back at the bottom of that awful pit of despair. You had to... I was... You hit me in the emotions, you stabbed me in the heart, and you made my lip quiver a bit with her immaculate facial expressions and the emotional weight of those eyes freaking quivering and her turning around. And then you had to ruin it with your stupid little, you had to say that word. You had to say the forbidden word. It's just like acid to me at this point whenever I see that stupid word. Oh, Mr. Sato. Dang, I don't even have to be playing the game and it's still infecting everything else around it. I know she's given the idea that's all that it deserves. It's the Sato-san we're talking about after all. So I probably shouldn't push it now. We'll probably wait till the last case for that. Is that everything then? I suppose it's everything. Alright, well, and then in that case, can we tell, is Iris still here? Okay, there she is. Can we tell Iris about the thing? Maybe rip the band-aid off just right now? It must be about a year ago now. I wrote a really long story based on some of my father's old notes. It's about one of Hurley's greatest exploits. I called it The Hound of the Bakersvilles. But then Mr. Shumans forbade you from publishing it, and put the manuscript somewhere nobody could get their hands on it.
So nobody knows anything about it apart from Hurley and I, but for some reason, you knew the title of it, didn't you, Susie?
Yeah, I remember the first game, thanks.
And you wouldn't tell me how you'd come to know it. Yes, but I made you a promise that I would explain one day, didn't I? I think it's time. Oh? I'm only sorry I've had to keep it from you for so long, Iris.
Alright, here it is. The Hound of the Baskervilles. The thing that's been lingering since the end of the first game. What the hell is the deal with this case that no one wants to talk about?
It was completely by accident that I came to know the title of your manuscript, Iris. It was a short while before we left Japan. I was cleaning Father's study and I saw something on his writing desk. A large box of papers. There was a label affixed to the box that was written in English. It read, "The Hound of the Baskervilles."
What?
My Baskerville story? Of course, I had no idea what it was at the time. Father came in and...
Susato, what are you doing?
Oh, the father!
Did you look at those papers?
No, I simply read the label, that's all.
Well, put it out of your mind.
Sorry?
Forget that you ever saw it, and certainly don't tell anybody else about this. Do you understand? Buddy, what is in the story? What about the story is so goddamn important that you don't let me tell anybody about it? But what was Iris's manuscript doing in Japan?
I have no idea, but when I heard Iris mention the word Baskerville that day, the title just slipped out. I would never have guessed that it was an unpublished account of one of Mr. Sholmes' exploits. When I returned to Japan, I asked Father to explain, but he refused to answer any of my questions, and there was no sign of the big box in his office. That's really all I know about it.
Oh, goddamn it, I have to wait even longer to know what is in this story! What about this story is so important that no one will tell me?
I've no doubt that the father has a very good reason for being so secretive about it, but still.
Yeah, well, that's not the only secret your father's keeping from us if you remember from the first case.
I made up my mind to explain myself to both of you. Well, thank you for being so honest, Susie.
God damn it, man, this game. There's like 1,000 things that have to be resolved.
So, Mr. Naruhodo, I'm ready to start investigating if you are. I've committed every detail about the case to memory. And Iris has told me, about the disturbing happenings at the Waxworks Museum as well.
So, you're finally abreast of the situation already, Mrs. Sato. I'd expect nothing less, to be honest.
I would think our first port of call should be to investigate this Mr. Drebber, the engineer responsible for building the elaborate machine that was used to effect this extraordinary trick. Yes, a conjurer of sorts by the sound of it, well known in the fields of science and magic. Then, we need to go and arrest him. I thought you was going to do another sort of takedown on me real quick. Well, yes, he must know the truth behind this case, so I agree we really do need to find the man. It sounds like it's a case of tracking someone down, which is a job for the police, or a great detective.
How about none of the above? Are we supposed to guess who she might be thinking of? We don't have much time, so we need to get started straight away, I think.
Good idea. Well, best of luck then.
Oh, you're not coming today?
I'm going to Brixton Road truly for the herb market. But let me know later how you got on, won't you?
With pleasure, Iris. Just like old times, then, just a classic Renos getting to start an investigation. I am down for that. That was a little abrupt. The pull of the herb market must be strong. Alright then, it's time to head out. I believe it's time to head out. Okay, new location's been added. So, where can we go? We can go downstairs, no point. We can go to the justice's office. And we can go to the prison, and we can go to the prosecutor's office. But it's grayed out, so we can't actually go there. Do the stage, the wax house. Okay, I don't know. Where should we go first? I guess we can start at the top, because he said he wanted some kind of a promotion, so might be interested to see what he has to say about that. Oh, hi there, random person. Oh, who's that standing behind Lord Strongheart?
I wonder. I've never seen her here before.
Huh. Oh, well, I guess I'm not gonna get a better look at her. Ah, the young champion of the court. You had some success this morning, I understand. And you've thrown the entire government into disarray as a result. Oh, you mean because of Professor Harebrain's experiment? Sham science being demonstrated at London's Great Exhibition. The country's been made to look foolish, and now politicians are scrambling to respond. I probably would have written scrambling there, personally, but Lord Van Zeeks is in the White Hall as we speak, giving an emergency briefing. Oh dear, I
Didn't mean to cause any trouble.
None of this is your responsibility. The government is entirely to blame for having been taken in. The special dispensation that prevents investigation at the scene will be annulled later today. Once that happens, my forensic investigation team will move in and deal with that scrap metal in no time.
It's scrap metal now, is it? And who are you supposed to be? You look very evil. I present to you the two most evil character designs you'll ever see in your life, side by side on screen, staring into each other's souls. Like, could you two not? Could she be any more of a spitting image of Lord Strongheart? Like, really?
Yes, thank you.
Wow, okay. Alright then. Who was that?
That was Dr. Courtney Scythe, Scotland Yard's esteemed chief coroner. She's leading the forensic investigation team's handling of this case. She was just delivering her report about the victim, in fact.
Oh, I see. About Mr. Assman.
Following the outcome of the trial earlier, I asked the coroner's office to reevaluate its findings. I don't have time to tell you what she concluded. If you want to know, you'll have to ask her directly. You can find her in the forensics laboratory.
Ah, right.
Now, what were you here to see me about? I can give you 7 minutes and 39 seconds of my time, and you can guarantee that I'll be seeing how well that checks out. Timer starts now.
I said now. So he's not running quite so spectacularly late anymore. Okay. So, let's see what we have to discuss. The forensic investigation team. Let's get right to it. What exactly is the forensic investigation team that you mentioned before?
The British Empire's police force must become the most exemplary in the world. For that to happen, it's imperative that we embrace forensic science and everything it has to offer. I first created the forensic investigation team a year ago now, unofficially of course, to pave the way.
Goodness, a year ago?
At next month's symposium, I intend to present the results of their work to the world. Once I do that, the House of Lords will be powerless to oppose the creation of a full-scale forensics division. And once that happens, the position of Attorney General will be mine, and criminals will suffer dearly.
What do you mean?
For too long, those scoundrels have made a mockery of our legal system with false evidence and bribes. But London's scum is about to be rounded up and burnt in the fires of hell. I intend to see to it personally. By creating the finest police force the world has ever known, to protect our honor and our future.
Wow, could you sound any more like a villain? Look at those eyes, he means every word. Imagine slaying yourself with such confidence like that.
Dr. Scythe is an extremely reliable coroner. When I officially establish the forensic division at Scotland Yard, she will run it as my right-hand woman. Now then, speaking of the symposium, Miss Mikotaba.
Oh, yes, my lord.
Your father should be on the high seas as we speak, making his way here to represent the Empire of Japan.
Yes, that's right. Are you acquainted, Lord Strongheart? With Professor Mikotaba, I mean.
It was many years ago now, but yes, I remember Dr. Mikotaba very well.
Care to explain how? I'm sure he will. Let's get right to it.
If my memory serves, it was some 15 years ago now that your father came to Britain as a visiting student.
It was the year I was born, so yes, 16 years ago, in fact.
Mikotaba, that sounds like a crap time to leave to a different country to be a visiting student. That sounds like the absolute worst time you could possibly leave. The year your child is born. Jesus Christ! Way to lay it all on your significant other. Jesus Christ! Mikotaba was a young practitioner of forensic science, and Jigoku accompanied him as a young, promising judge. The punctiliousness and politeness of the Japanese at the time impressed us greatly. Now, not that I wish to imply impoliteness or carelessness on your part in any way.
I didn't think that you were.
Dr. Mikotaba studied forensics at one of London's large hospitals. St. Sinners, if I'm not mistaken. St. Sinners, that's a name for a hospital. Dr. Scythe was also there, as it happens.
Then, Dr. Scythe knows my father, does she?
She was a young medical assistant at the time, so I doubt their paths crossed regularly. But I've no doubt that they knew each other superficially. After all, Dr. Mikotaba was here studying his subject for some 6 years in total.
6 years? That's a long time to be studying abroad. So she went 6 years without ever meeting her father? Christ. I live with my wow, okay, wow. So Mikotaba just, like, sucks? Like he's the big bad, and props to her grandmother for taking care of her for 6 years. Jesus Christ. Yeah, so I'm happy you're born and all, but, like, I'm gonna go heat myself off to another country. See you later, bye-bye. Wow, you know,
Starting to think there might be more to her father than meets the eye, considering everything we know about him so far. His reputation is rapidly sinking the deeper into this game that we get. So he left his newly born daughter behind and went overseas for 6 whole years?
It was a rather turbulent time at home. Oh, perhaps father wanted a reason to get away.
Hey, my daughter, whatever reason you had to get away, I guarantee you, my daughter was just born, trumps any reason you could have to leave. Okay. Yeah, so, any respect I once had for Mikotaba, just down the drain immediately. You left her all alone. Yes, she was with her grandmother or whatever, but still, like, come on. What? Okay. Okie dokie. Well, clearly something was something and something or other. Something's going on at the time. Okay, Lord Van Zeeks. I wanted to ask you about Lord Van Zeeks, actually. I heard that his older brother was killed some years ago by a mass murderer known as the Professor who targeted nobles and royalty. Is that right? You Japanese are a thorough lot. You've done your research well. Yes. And you could say it was that very incident that gave rise to the Reaper. What? Why? When his brother, Clint Van Zeeks, was murdered, it was just after young Barrack had graduated from the University of London and become a prosecutor, when obvious criminals who managed to evade conviction in court started disappearing. Rumors quickly spread throughout the capital. Londoners started to say that whoever Barrack Von Zeeks went, the ghost of his dead brother wasn't far behind. Oh my word! So Lord Van Zeeks isn't the Reaper, it's the ghost of his brother? I don't know about that one. Ever since that time, he became a very aloof figure in London's legal circles. Okay. Oh yes, Lord Strongheart. Go ahead. It's about, Professor Harebrain's experimental machine. We'd like your permission to examine the remains if possible. Are you well versed in science? Not in the slightest. In fact, you could say I was barely aware of the subject at all until recently. Well, the special dispensation legally preventing investigation of the machine is currently being annulled. Within a few hours, Dr. Sai's team of forensic experts will begin their own investigation. But I suppose until then, there's no harm in looking at the records as long as you touch nothing but the lamp. But thank you. Being able to look at it is better than nothing.
And I'll be able to see it too.
Your time is up. Alright, stop the clock at 6 minutes and 11 seconds. Close to, I mean, I was... The thing is, I took some time to talk about a few points in detail, so that added to the clock, certainly. But also, I may read slightly faster, so that could have also truncated the time, so it's close enough. I'll let it slide. Your time is up. You'll have to excuse me now, I'm afraid. My next engagement calls.
We are extremely sorry to have troubled you when you are so busy, my lord.
I have important matters to attend to in preparation for the symposium, you understand. And he just leaves without even saying goodbye. Lovely. Not that I expect any more, but I just feel like everyone we meet is just a terrible person now. Like, I feel like every single person we've met except for Soseki-san and possibly Inspector Hasanaga, it just has some horrible secret that they're burying deep within them. I'm very curious to see how this story proceeds from here on out. Okay, so can we go to the forensics lab now? Alright, go to the forensics lab and let's meet this person. Let's meet this. Oh, that's not creepy at all. This is an escape room waiting to be constructed. That's a giant skeleton you have just creeping in the corner. Oh, and the owl. Let's not forget the owl. The creepy ass owl that's currently staring into my soul in the top right of the screen. Let's not forget that one as well. Like, could you have designed a creepier room? Jesus. I believe this is it, Dr. Sai's laboratory. That chemical smell really assaults the nose, and there's plenty to assault the eyes in here, too.
It looks as though the doctor isn't here, but we're here now, so...
May as well do some
sightseeing, don't you think?
What a seasoned tourist you become, Mr. Sato. We could just have a little look around. Be careful not to upset any restless souls. Okay, so what's of interest for us to look at here? Well, the most obvious thing that is worthy of examining is the big-ass skeleton in the corner of the room that's just constantly staring and creeping at us. Look at this, what a magnificent display case! The cherry wood has been polished to a high sheen, and the intricate carving is a joy to behold. Western cabinet makers really are very skilled, aren't they?
Do you have nothing to say about the skeleton inside of Naruto? I was wondering, like, wait, what are you, really? That's what you're focusing on? Not the creepy skeleton? Can't you tell that I'm trying very hard to avoid talking about the terrifying contents of the case? It's how I cope. I'll be sure to remember that from now on. I love the chemistry between these two. Oh, also the creepy birds. Let's not forget about the creepy birds. That looks like an owl and a crow up there. I know, when they haven't even twitched since we came in here. Well, no, they wouldn't have. The taxidermy mounts, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, I was afraid you were going to say that. I've been trying very hard to tell myself that they're just sleeping with their eyes open. Yes, I think perhaps you were wise to put something like your Daruma doll on display in the office instead. Okay, well, now that we've had our fun, I guess I should probably also look at something actually important, such as the notebook. Look at this big, thick book here. Ah, it appears to be an accounting ledger. It's a record of the forensic investigation team's spending, I think. Oh? What is it? It's clear that the team purchases various equipment and supplies on a monthly basis, but, well, one entry seems rather strange. Really? In what way? They're buying 500 scalpels every month. 500? They must be working really hard on dissecting corpses. I don't know. Usually autopsies are only carried out in certain special circumstances, and scalpel blades can be sharpened too. It does seem a bit strange, you're right. 500 scalpels a month. What could they possibly be using them all for? That is extremely strange, yeah. Oh, looks like we summoned the wrath of the coroner or whatever at the wrong moment. Ah! Yeah, you're not intimidating at all. Sorry, I had something we wanted to ask you, but you weren't here, so...
So you thought you'd snip around? That's acceptable to you people from the East, is it? Well, what do you want?
Lord Strongheart told us, you see, that it was you who examined the victim's body. It's Mr. Assman's body, I mean.
So we came to ask you about your findings, on Lord Strongheart's advice. Very well. If the Lord Chief Justice has given his consent, I'll tell you what our investigation revealed. But when we're done, you must leave immediately.
Sounds like a deal. Okay. No, don't move. Wrong. I'm still not used to the new UI compared to how it was in the original trilogy. Your findings.
So, you want to know what the forensic investigation team determined from its examination of the scene?
That was an odd way to flip that up towards you.
The victim, Mr. Assman, who disappeared from the experimentation stage amid an explosion, and the Mr. Assman who appeared moments later partway up the Crystal Tower, were without question one and the same person. That is the team's conclusion.
But that can't be right!
If it was an elaborate trick, we can only speculate about how it was carried out.
Let's see. If two people who looked very similar to each other were involved, they could have made it appear as if one single person had switched places, couldn't they?
There's also a wax facility nearby. Very true. But sadly in this instance, that was not the case. The man who disappeared and the man who subsequently reappeared was the same person. The fingerprints at the scene make that quite evident. Hey, maybe check the wax museum. They might have something to do with this. I don't know for sure though.
Fingerprints.
They'll not get officially recognized as forensic evidence in the British justice system. But one day, they will be used as investigative aid, as a matter of course.
Oh my! But that would mean that the instantaneous kinesis actually took place. No, it didn't. So, where does that leave us? It leaves us in the real world, and it leaves her in the crazy batshit fantasy world, where a certain other franchise would probably actually have that be a thing that occurred.
My team was tasked with investigating, not drawing conclusions.
Instantaneous kinesis is impossible, and yet the body did move from one place to the other. This doesn't clear anything up at all. It's made the whole thing even more of a mystery. Well, it does give some credence to... Oh, you're gonna need to take that off immediately. You're gonna need to take that mask off right the hell now. No. No. You need to stop with that. No, right now. No. You're like some penguin knockoff. Actually, you know what? No. You're like the creepy... Zero stand-in from Zero Time Dilemma. You are staring into my soul, like directly into, you're staring directly into me. You see all my greatest fears and aspirations, and that mask is the single creepiest. In a room that has a skeleton in a display case, and a crow and an owl staring deep directly. Oh, and I forgot to mention, there's a skull on the top left of the cabinet back there that's also staring at me.
And then you come waltzing in here with the penguin mask that came straight out of Zero Time Dilemma. It's like, maybe, can you, if you're gonna wear it, that's fine. But please don't look me in the eye. I don't feel safe when I look at you. Okay. Where did she spring from? Did she teleport into the scene? And did she just call the doctor Mama?
This is a lawyer, dear.
Oh.
Hello, pleased to meet you. Yes, I'm a defense lawyer. Arena's getting our...
Mama,
Yes.
can I cut this one up?
No, you may not cut this one up. What? No, you can stay back there. Bye-bye, see you later, goodbye. Nice knowing you.
I've never seen it on an Eastern person before. I want to know what it's like.
Of course you can't. It's a live specimen, as you can very well see. The fact that that's what you describe me is disturbing.
Boring.
Okay. I think I just had a near-death experience. Yeah, so this is the time when we leave. This is the time to just yeet ourselves out of the room and never come back. Oh dear, Mr. Naruhodo, you're as pale as a corpse. Let's leave before I'm mistaken for one. Yeah, time to go. Bye. Goodbye. Nice knowing you. Bye. See you later. Goodbye. See you later. Goodbye. Bye. Bye. I don't need to see you ever again for the rest of my life. Nice knowing you, pal. Okay, that was terrifying. That was just straight up terrifying. Alrighty. Okay, October 23rd, the Great Exhibition Grounds, foot of the Crystal Tower. Good Lord Almighty. Okay, at first I thought the dog was attacking her, but it looked like the dog was just kind of licking her, so that's cute. This is a cute doggo. Most dogs want to kill me, but I'm glad to see that Gina's getting along with the dog. That I didn't know existed until just now, but okay. I had no idea there was so many people in the world. I know what you mean. It's really packed here today. It feels as though it's taken us 2 hours just to make our way through the crowds to this point. Has it? I should have my brain done so I didn't really notice, to be honest. Gosh, I do wish I had your absence of mind sometimes, Mr. Naruhodo. Hey, Gregson! Oh, Inspector Gregson, I see you hard at work as usual.
Warm greetings to you. I do hope you've been keeping well since last we met.
What's with all the ceremony? We just saw each other in court this morning.
Not you, Sunshine. A gentlewoman so loyally at your side.
You don't tell Iris this. Iris will feel betrayed that you're paying so much more attention to someone else. Oh no, whatever will you do?
Why, thank you, Inspector. How could I have you to notice?
Better not tell Iris, or else in that case, you might be forced to tell Airlock about how you're actually crap at your job and ruin your reputation or something like that. I don't know. He might be a bit rough around the edges, but he's still a proper English gentleman at heart. Sometimes. As you probably guessed, we were hoping to investigate the scene some more.
Right, well, that's the young trainer's domain. Oi! Get over here, Gina.
Stop mucking around with the dog. Even though that dog is adorable. That might be the first dog we've met in any kind of game that doesn't want to murder me, whether it's in a game or in real life. She seems to be busy playing with a puppy. Gina? She's a police officer now? Oh, yeah, I forgot. There's some things you've missed. Amazing, isn't it?
She's a good kid, actually. Heart's in the right place, anyway. She's got the detection bug, if you ask me. Yep, I think she'll follow my footsteps nicely.
What do you mean?
I'm being transferred. It's time for me to say toodaloo to London.
Oh, not Gregson. But he's so nice. We like Gregson. Gregson's got some problems. He's not great. You know, he kind of had a bit of a scuffle in the last case of the first game with the whole freak out with the music box thing. But he's like he said about Gina, his heart's in the right place. Gregson's a great guy. That's a bit sudden, isn't it? I had no idea. I mean, he may eat his fish and chips all the time, but Gregson's really growing on me. Where are you going to be posted then? We'll come to see how you're getting along.
Ha, not likely. But you're welcome to try if you don't mind a trip to France it is.
To France?
I'll be working in the Paris Police Prefecture. Should be right in my alley.
But France, it's an entirely different country. I don't understand. Why would you be sent there?
That's the way the adult world works, Sunshine. They don't go poking your nose in where it's not wanted.
Meaning there's a deeper reason, a more important reason why I'm being sent there, but I don't want you to know about it just yet.
I'm intending to take the kid with me when I go. Oh, no, that's not acceptable. No. You go bug off to where you want to go, but you leave Gina here. That's not how this works.
Well, I can't leave her in London. Who knows what will become of her.
I think she can handle herself. Thanks, though. I suppose he's worried she'd step back into slipping her hands into people's pockets and purses. Well, then that's easy fix. Just make sure she has her heart in the right place and she knows what to do before you leave. I don't think he's worried about her pickpocketing, Mr. Naruhodo. I think he's worried about the Reaper. Okay, so if you're really worried about the Reaper, yeah, if we're to believe that the Reaper is a real threat to Gina, there's nothing you can do to save her. Like she'd be swept up by the Reaper whether or not you were here. So that shouldn't influence your decision at all.
Oh, so that's playing on Inspector Gregson's mind too, is it?
Anyway, I haven't mentioned any of this to Gina, so don't go blabbing, you hear me?
She's literally right behind you. No, of course not.
I gotta keep that diving diva safe and sound, until this is all over at least.
Oh.
Oi! Did you just call me a bloomin' diva diver?
Oh, that you heard. That you heard. But everything before that, okay.
So you heard that, did you? Right, well, any questions about the scene, you can put them to my capable detective diva here.
Also, the puppy just disappeared.
Alright, you heard the boss. Inspector Lestrange's in charge here now.
I'm kind of surprised how all the characters are growing on me, because, like, you know, there's some, like, Van Zeeks is really still I'm really not a fan of him at all, but, you know, most of the other characters at this point, they've really grown on me, so I'm kind of surprised how quickly that's happened. And also Sholmes still sucks, but Sholmes is kind of a guy, it's like, you love to hate Sholmes. He's not like some other characters from a different franchise who you just hate, and you hate to hate them. But Sholmes is kind of like that's our Sholmes, so you just, you love to hate him sort of thing. So most of the characters in one way or another are growing on me. I suppose I better keep my word and not mention anything about Paris. So, Gina, you've got a new dog, have you? I think that might have just been a stray she was playing with. I don't know if that's actually... Aww, he's so cute.
Isn't he great? Toby's his name. Oh, how delightful. He's absolutely adorable.
Yeah, the one dog I've ever met in any video... Well, I mean, I guess we have Missile. Missile's the best, but, you know, at least in the real world, dogs and we don't get along very well. You've heard me talk about this before. I don't like dogs at all. The dog does seem lovely, but it's the not-so-lovely Inspector Gregson that's playing on my mind, to be honest. Alright then, well, let's chat her up, shall we? Gina, we're actually hoping that we can investigate the scene again.
Yeah, alright, if it's around here, you can do what you like.
Oh, that's alright, is it?
I'm gonna be playing with my new friend here.
Ah, yes, Toby.
Aww. The machine that exploded must be at the top of the stairs, I presume? I haven't actually seen it yet, so if you don't mind... Sorry, you can't go up there, Suze. Oh! It's like I told Aura yesterday, even I ain't allowed near that wreck. What's it called again? The reason we ain't supposed to touch the special...
The Special Disposition for Scientific Equipment Act, is that what you were thinking of?
That's the one. That's why only them lot are allowed to investigate it. What are they called again? The Forensic something?
The Forensic Investigation Team, is that what you were thinking of?
That's the one, yeah.
But isn't it the case that the Special Disposition has been lifted?
I think so, but I don't really get it, to be truthful with you. You're still supposed to get permission from some bigwig or others as far as I know. What was his name again? Lord Strange something?
I'm not sure that's quite right, Gina. I think you mean Lord Strongheart, perhaps?
Yeah, that's the one, yeah. Apparently he's always watching the time or something. Actually, we've just recently been to see Lord Strongheart. Eh? You what? You met him? Last time the boss was called to go and see him, he waited for 3 hours at the code's office and came back sniveling.
Tragic.
Well, Lord Strongheart has given us permission to examine the scene as long as we touch nothing. Oh yeah?
Honestly.
Alright then, go ahead, but if it turns out you're lying, it'll be the boss who gets it. He'll never eat another chip again in his life.
I think he'll be just fine.
So you're still saying all this is above board, are you?
Yep. You know what? I approve of this. Gina's gone through a nice little arc. She went from desperate pickpocketer to, you know, relying on us to help, and then her time in prison reformed her into someone who has her heart in the right place, and turns out is pretty damn good at her job from what we've seen so far. I like this little arc. I approve of what they're doing with Gina's character. I really, of all the surprises, the fact that Gina is as important to the plot as she is probably caught me by surprise the most, because I didn't think they were going to do anything with the character after the third case, but sure enough, she came back stronger than ever. That really would be tragic.
Alright then, and the stairs, off you go. Tut tut. Oh, thank you, Gina.
Alright then, I guess it's time to head off to the stairs. I don't know what else we're going to be able to dig up, but I guess we may as well have a look around to see, because we can't touch anything, but we may as well see what we can find out this time, because we'll see what else is, what we missed the first time around, I guess I should say. October 23rd, the Great Ace Mission Grounds Experimentation Stage.
Oh my, so this is the machine that was used to deceive people into thinking instantaneous kinesis had taken place.
Yes, that's right, or rather it was the machine. It's a little worse for wear at the moment.
What extraordinary lengths Professor Harebrained went to in order to obtain the research grant? No, the professor was tricked as well. He didn't know anything about it. Yes, of course. It is amazing though, isn't it? The scale of the whole affair is so very British.
You're right about that. You never see such a grand assumption in Japan, that's for sure.
Oh look, is that?
Huh. Well, look who decided to show up. So, I think we're more or less done here, aren't we, Mr. Sato?
Already?
He is the Reaper, remember? We do well to keep our distance, I think.
But we have permission to be here, from the top. We're perfectly well allowed to investigate this machine. As long as we don't touch anything.
From the top? You mean Lord Strongheart?
Exactly. So we can stay here and stare at this wreckage for as long as we like.
She could have been at the center of the explosion here and it wouldn't have bent her steal the will. Okay, well, obviously the most important thing to check is, not the machine itself, but, hey, Van Zeeks. Anything interesting, any news on that Drebber guy from last time? Ugh, least approachable man in the world winner 10 years in a row.
Be strong, Mr. Naruhodo. Your country and your assistants stand firm behind you.
Yeah, behind me. Important word choice there. Lord Van Zeeks? What? Well, beautiful weather we're having, isn't it? Not the time. I thought I was making it quite clear that I didn't want to be disturbed. Apparently, you Nipponese are unequipped to read the signs. Oh, I read them. I just chose to ignore them. So, what are you doing here? Entry to this area is prohibited. Well, the thing is...
Lord Chief Justice Strongheart granted us permission to investigate, on the condition that we didn't disturb anything.
And yet you've managed to disturb me. Well, you're not a thing, you're a person, so we haven't broken any rules. Never mind. State your business, then. Come to think of it, there are quite a few things that I'd like to ask about Lord Van Zeeks about. Not the least of which is that awful case, even though it's nothing to do with this.
Ask away, Mr. Naruhodo. You won't know unless you try.
Okay, top to bottom, your brother Clint. So, Clint. What's the name of your older brother, I understand, Lord Van Zeeks? You Nipponese. I always have to be on guard whenever you're around. So, you've been investigating me, have you? Oh, no, it's not like that. Well, alright, it's a bit like that. My older brother was also a prosecutor. He was the pride of the Van Zeeks family. But tragically, a vicious killer took him from us. The professor, you mean? Is something funny? That's the extent of what you discovered, is it? I shouldn't be surprised. Sorry, there's more to it then? Lackluster work is very much your trademark, isn't it? Given your track record with prosecuting us, or prosecuting my clients, I don't think you're in a position to say that. So tell me, what's your interest in that historic incident?
As it happens, Lord Van Zeeks, there's a rather curious case that's come to our attention. Are you aware of the Madame Tufstill's Museum of Waxwork by any chance?
I am, naturally. I believe that since last month I feature in one of the displays there, for public scorn. Of course the infamous Reaper of the Bailey would have to be exhibited, wouldn't he?
Well, a particular waxwork has been stolen from the place, and held for ransom.
A particular waxwork? Wait, you mean... Yes, it's the professor. Mr. Shulman's investigating the case as we speak, and probably bungling it colossally. But you know, I wasn't aware of that. He's turned as white as a sheet. Is that all we're gonna get on that, I suppose? Are the police trying to locate the engineer, Mr. Drebber, already? Surely that goes without saying. We're very keen to see him found as well. The trouble is, we don't have much to go on aside from the description of the man we heard in court earlier.
Which, according to Professor Hairbrain, was of a tall, thin gentleman who has a straight white hair and wears a black monocle.
So, I was just wondering... I mean, I realize it's probably not possible, but...
We'd very much appreciate any more clues you can give us.
Wow. Sato-san really knows how to take the bull by the horns. Fine. Why not? I have a photograph of the man here from an investigation 10 years ago. Though it appears he already had that black monocle at the time. What? Oh, no, nothing. I was just surprised that you shared that with us. We all need the man's testimony in court tomorrow, which means we have to do everything we possibly can to track him down in the short time available. So why wouldn't I show you the photograph? Well, you know how prosecutors are in Ace Attorney. Sometimes I just can't work them out at all. Okay, well, it's good we have that now, but is that all we're gonna get on the history with your brother? I suppose it is. Oh, hey, Kazuma, how you doing today? The file I requested for the trial tomorrow. Thank you. Oh, does she see something? I think she might see something. Are you alright?
Who is this man, Mr. Naruhodo?
You're not gonna like the answer. Lord Van Zeke's apprentice, apparently. So I'm not the only one. Susato-san can see it too. Can I just say, as a reminder, that the facial expressions and the wide variety of them are just immaculate in this game? Lord Van Zeke's, may we speak with your apprentice for a moment? Does he speak? I didn't know that he spoke. I didn't know he knew how to speak. With him? Why? I'll say he doesn't know then.
Kazuma-sama!
He doesn't know that name. I would be gobsmacked if he remembered that name. Kazuma?
I don't believe it! Your posture, your presence, it can only be... It's you! Isn't it Kazuma-sama?
Yeah, this isn't a surprise to me at all. I called this from square one. I felt something strange the very first time I encountered this cloaked figure, as if I knew him somehow. Can it really be you, Kazuma? Well, take off the hood and we'll find it immediately. Wait! Too late. It shouldn't be that hard to catch him. He has to go down the stairs. What's going on here? Long story, Van Zeeks. What is your interest in my apprentice exactly? You act as if you know the man or something. Well,
Since when has he been in your care? I don't recall you having an apprentice before I left Britain 6 months ago.
Lord Strongheart introduced him to me about 3 months ago now, with instructions to mentor him as a prosecutor. But he didn't tell you why, did he? The man appears to be suffering from amnesia. He's forgotten every last detail about himself. Called it. Called it.
He has amnesia?
Called it. Tomorrow he will appear in court. He's gonna do what now? What? He is to serve as my judicial assistant on Lord Strongheart's orders. He's gonna be a what now? He'll be in court with us? Oh. Okay then. That wasn't part of the deal. That wasn't on my bingo card. Facing off against Kazuma in court? Okay. That's not intimidating. Okay. Thank you, I guess, for dropping that bombshell. I definitely saw a reaction there. Oh, not now. Susato, please, not now. Not now with the quiver. I can't take it with the quivering eyes right now. When Susato-san called out like that, it really seemed to hit a nerve. When she called out Kazuma-sama. Please, I can't. The eyes. Okay. So that's the thing. I feel like we should be examining the crime scene. Like, examining the machine itself, but I almost feel like it's, like, totally boxed to do it right now after what we just learned.
What a terrible explosion it must have been. Even the steel girders had buckled and twisted in the blast.
And what do they call the birdcage was right in the middle of it all, just here.
Look, Mr. Naruhodo, the metal grill on the floor. Looks as though it's designed to open.
Yeah, open as if somewhere to fall through it or something crazy like that. It does, doesn't it? If the floor had opened at the precise moment the explosion occurred, the birdcage could have dropped through and disappeared from sight.
I don't think there's any doubt that this was a very elaborate hoax, is there? You'd already met that masked man, hadn't you, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, yesterday, in fact, at Lord Van Zeke's office.
I see. And if Kazuma-sama really is still alive, it means that Mr. Shones lied to us.
Or he's just incompetent. They're both perfectly valid possibilities. I know. We're going to need to speak to him about that. You're going to have to leave now. The forensic investigation team are due to arrive shortly. If they find you here, it will cause problems. What sort of problems? Foreign affairs problems. We could do without that. Alright, we'll be on our way. Let's go, Mr. Sato.
Of course.
Okay. Wow, so... I feel like that's a good place to leave things off for now. Because I'm getting the sense that these investigations are starting to get longer and longer, and I kind of want to... I don't want to spend, like, 2 hours of the time doing investigations. So I'm going to try to probably break them up, like, keep the investigation episodes limited to roughly an hour, so just so that we can kind of move through it at a decent pace. I will say, though, it's much nicer... The actual pacing of the case themselves are getting a lot better, because the first game was just all condensed into one short day, but now it's actually back to the more traditional formula: investigation one day, trial the next, investigation one day, trial the next, and it's like that same rhythm as before, where it actually feels like it's adequately paced, that you keep getting stair-stepped up to the rails instead of having it all front-loaded on you at the same time. So I'm glad that the pace is kind of getting back to normal, and I'm very interested to see, because we have a lot of things at play here. We have the mystery of the Hound of Baskerville, the mystery of stoning her father and Lord Strongheart, and the daughter of the creepy coroner girl, and Gina's future, and Gregson's future, and Kazuma-sama and Van Zeke's backstory, and the truth behind the engineer, and just everything about the Crystal Tower and the experiment itself. There's a lot at play right now, so I am extremely interested to see what happens next. So that'll be it for now. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for next time. We hope to catch you all tomorrow for some more of the Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. Goodbye.